There is the 5-second board being raised then. 15-minute race for the TEGIWA Type R Trophy. We're watching for the lights. They go out now. Away we go. Pretty good start from the two on the front row. That's and now all of a sudden Chris Nyland is slow through the gears, and that means it's Joe Jessup from the outside of the front row that's going through into the lead. And I think it's the 20 car of Ashmore that's second, but Matt Digby, a great start from him. He goes into the lead. An even better start for Mark Dickin, but he's actually going to leave the circuit. I think he's going to have to pay to get back in. Mark Dickin in the 777 car completely outbraked himself at Hatchett's Hairpin, but very briefly I think he could probably say that he led the race.
Well, Dickin got an incredibly good start from 7th position, 6th place in fact, and he then wasn't sure which side of Daniel Chapman to go. He tried the left, but that was closed off, so then went to the right. I thought, I need to up the ante a little bit here and make some places, but unfortunately didn't break in time for Hatchett, so has lost a bagload of positions and hard work to do from this point on.
Yeah, and Mark Dickin was second last time out at Alton Park when we were on the full international circuit there, so we'll see what he can do. There he is, the 777 car, the Dayglow and black car. There's Matt Digby in the pole position driver, Chris Nyland, they're side by side. I think that's actually for third. Yes, there's one car that's just miles in front of the rest. That's Joe Jessup, I think, in the number 28 car. Then it's Ashmore now under pressure from Chris Nyland, and Moore's lost it. Oh, he's got it back again as they go into Honda Curve, but he has lost the position. He's lost a couple of places in back because Matt Digby in the green car has gone through as well.
So many of these drivers are having to be comfortable with front-wheel drive cars that are massively oversteery, particularly in Honda corner, but great car control from the majority. I wonder whether there's a bit of bodywork hanging off the back of Matt Digby's car because of the contact in the final corner. We'll check that. Left side sill, I think, may be loose, but an electric start from Joe Jessup. As you say, he is clear by over 1.5 seconds.
He is indeed, and we're only on the second lap of this race. 15 minutes we have. Oh, and there's one car off there, I'm afraid. That's the number 23 car of Alan Gill that's out of the race by the looks of it. So misfortune for Alan, who started on the penultimate row of the grid. Now this is a busy looking bit of tarmac, and that's a very sideways number 84 car. That's Chris Smith, who again gets it back under control. We were talking about it in Hot Hatch last season. There's yellow flags there, and that must be where Alan Gill's car has come to a stop. Well, actually there's a very slow car on circuit. Is that Gill's car getting back out into the race, or is that somebody else? We think it is Gill.
Possibly. Difficult to tell from this distance.
No, it's not.
It's not. You're right.
No, it is the Gill car. Beg your pardon. Oh, and it's quite bashed up at the front end, so I think he's going to just head back to the pit lane.
Yeah, clearly been in the wall. Matt Digby, somebody to watch in third position, having just posted the quickest lap of everybody.
That's for the lead all of a sudden. Chris Nyland, it was 1.67 seconds that gap at the end of lap 1. It was 0.37 seconds at the end of lap 2. So you've got Chris Nyland now with Joe Jessup, but a bit further back, some side-by-side action. That's Jake Hewlett, who you said at the start, he needed to work his way through from a relatively disappointing qualifying position. Yeah,
but what's happened therefore to Joe Jessup? Because 1.5 second advantage becomes 0.37 in the space of 1 and a bit miles. So has he had a slight error somewhere? Jessup being reeled in by the championship leader Christopher Nyland. Also good scrapping a little further back for Jake Hewlett, second in the championship, trying to keep his Civic nice and wide because he has behind him Chris Smith. So that's actually a place he's just gained. Jake up to 6th place then ahead of Chris Smith.
Yeah, and Chris Smith has the Daniel Chapman car right behind him as well. That's the 104 car that started 4th on the grid. There is Chapman. He's got through ahead of Smith there. So it's Smith behind Chapman now, and then Moore is the driver that's really been losing out, hasn't he, over the last lap or so. Meanwhile, I can tell you there's a challenge on for second place heading down to Hatchett's Hairpin as well, as Matt Digby is going to try and get past Joe Jessup. Just looking out of our window, I don't think he's done that. We're still watching Daniel Chapman trying to fend off Chris Smith there, but it's Hewlett 4th now, Chapman 5th, and Chris Smith in 6th position. And Smith, that was Ashmore, sort of all over the curbs on the inside at Hatchett's Hairpin.
Yeah, saves you a bit of real estate time, but actually the bumping and boring over the curbing probably ultimately loses you a bit of time. Very sideways for the race leader, Nyland. Can he get it back again? He's surely not going to get the switch back, no. So we'll lose the lead, but I think we'll cling on to 3rd position. So Joe Jessup got through, Matt Digby got through, but what about the recovery, Ian?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, was lucky that he had sort of 5 seconds in hand over 4th position Jake Hewlett. It was even probably luckier that no one managed to make contact with him there as the car was sort of bucking around there in all different directions, it seemed to me. Very lucky that neither Joe Jessup nor Matt Digby, as they were coming through, connected with him. Big moment, I think, there for Chris Nyland. We'll see if he can come back from that. The former Ford XR racer. As now we've got the next group of cars on screen with Jake Hewlett now at the head of that group in 4th place, Daniel Chapman 5th and Chris Smith in 6th. Hewlett, who's won a race, as I say, at Alton Park this season, he'll be keen to just break away from this battle, I think.
So those positional changes confirmed on our scoring tower, top left of your screen, as Jessup now leads from Digby, but a real gang of cars here involving Daniel Chapman, Chris Smith, Ash Moore's in there, the number 20 car as well, and this collection is going to take a bit of sorting out as they head for the crossing. First and second are together again though, Jessup in the white, red and blue car being chased down by Matt Digby.
Yellow flags waving there, and that's because the 23 car of Alan Gill has pulled off into the sort of back entrance of the paddock, but he's probably found the gate closed because there's a race going on. So he's not able to go through there at the moment. So, right, Jake Hewlett has done what he didn't want to do, which is lose a position to Daniel Chapman, who's got his way back into 4th. But he might lose another one here, Hewlett, as well. The newcomer to racing, the fibre engineer by occupation. Is going to lose a place to Chris Smith here. So Chris Smith goes 6th. This is not such a happy race for Jake Hewlett as some of the events he's had so far this season. He's led on at least a couple of occasions this season, as one of them, I think, Ashmore, big moment for him on the way into Honda. But just to finish off what I was saying about Jake Hewlett, lots of experience in sim racing. Probably finding things are very different in these difficult conditions in real life.
Noticed that Conor Murphy had to get out of the gas, the Irishman, in the Dayglow yellow car because of that moment for Ashmore up ahead, and across the line Murphy not able to gain a spot. But yeah, Hewlett's not quite got the speed of those cars behind him, so Chris Smith with the faster race car, I would say, but needs to try and find a way by to the outside as they exit Debeni and head now for the crossing, possibly throwing the car ahead a bit of a dummy as he got squirreled his way up the inside. Now he's about to lose a spot, in fact, to Ashmore, so Chris Smith down to 7th.
He is indeed. And just yeah, Mark Dickin, who we saw go straight on the first corner, he's back to 10th place now. Is he going to make any more progress, though? He is not lapping as quickly as the cars in front of him as Jake Hewlett. Big moment for him up at Brooklands, and that's going to lose him more places. Ashmore and Chris Smith, who lost a place to previously, go through, and he might also lose out to Conor Murphy in the 67 car as well. He's not quite done so. Yeah, I think he's just going to avoid that. But Hewlett now down to 7th.
I wonder whether this is tyres. I was having a look at the MRF tyres before we got racing today, and big off now, and a red flag.
Yeah, red flag is
for
out.
That is the 94 car that has had an incident, which is Ursula Jordan.
Oh, and it's just where that other car had stopped on the crossing as well. So I don't know if possibly she made contact with that car. But the race being stopped now, we'd had almost exactly half of the race when the red flags had come out. So we'll wait and see if we're going to get a restart. We'll keep an eye forward. Race about to get underway then. The lights go on and out they go. And who makes the best start this time? It looks like a pretty good start by Matt Digby from the outside of the front row. And of course, it is a staggered grid here, so he's got to make up several yards, but he's alongside the 28 car of Joe Jessup as they head down to Hatchett's for the first time. But it's going to be Jessup who takes a bit of curb on the inside line that holds the lead. Digby in second and Nyland in third place. It looks like amongst the leading few, they're more or less in order.
I was right about Matt Digby's left side sill, though. That's trying to depart from the car as quickly as it can. Chris Nyland's a little bit wide there coming out of Debeni. Visibility is going to be a massive problem in the midfield here as well. Joe Jessup will be very grateful that he had pole position then in the restarted grid, and he's starting to romp away a little bit from Matt Digby. I also noticed a very good start from Jake Hewlett from 6th position. Let's see how he gets going, though, once we get to race pace.
And there is Mark Dickin, who didn't make the same exhibition of himself as he did at the original start. Chris Smith there, throwing the car around the Brooklands hairpin, not particularly effectively. He loses a position there to, I think that was Daniel Chapman in the 104 car. Yes, it was Chapman that's got up ahead of him. Chris Smith losing that place. They're heading to Honda at the end of the first lap of what's only going to be probably they might squeeze 5 laps out of this. A 5-minute race anyway. The end of lap 1, it's Joe Jessup leading, Matt Digby second, and Chris Nyland in third position.
And in the spray is Christopher Nyland, then championship leader, looking for a way by Matt Digby. He's not going to be close enough this time into Hatchett, and also not far away in the blue car, blue and black for Daniel Chapman in car 104, almost side by side, and that's a place gained, I reckon, by Mark Dickin. No, he was just ahead of Conor Murphy as they crossed the line, but confirmed now for Dickin, who started the initial start in 6th position, lost ground, but is gaining it back again.
Okay, 3 minutes to go. Oh, that's Nyland off at the same part of the circuit as he was in big strife on a couple of laps ago. But a bigger problem for Daniel Chapman, who's been off into the barriers, and he's got quite a lot of damage to the front of his car. There's Dickin and Hewlett now disputing 7th position. It's actually going to be 6th, isn't it, with Chapman having gone off the road. And Hewlett duking it out there on the inside line to fend Dickin off.
Lots of grip, I thought, out on the outside of Brooklands hairpin there. It's called a hairpin, but nothing like one. But then he hit the curb in the dirt, did Mark Dickin, and lost even more ground. And another red flag, I'm afraid to say.
Another race stoppage. And that time, yes, the checker flag is going out. So I think that will be a verdict on the one lap that we had for the restart there. So one of those rare beasts, a race declared at one lap, I think. I can see the fire tender heading down, and also the medical car heading out there. So hopefully the driver involved is okay. But that just looked like quite a heavy hit there, Johnny.
It's another incident where you run a bit wide on the approach to the crossing, and Daniel Chapman just can't get the car back again. All the momentum is sending you off to the right-hand side where the tyre wall is, and that's actually a longer run than Finn Groom had earlier on. Close to where the cafeteria is. I saw that in the background, the car with lots of front end damage, and just keep our fingers crossed that Honda is repairable overnight, because that's the business end of the car.
Let's have a look at the results now. This isn't official because this is showing the position after 2 laps, and we think it'll go back to 1 lap, but let's run down these anyway. Joe Jessup 28 from 97, Matt Digby, Chris Nyland 130, and that would be in a different order if it went back the previous lap, wouldn't it? I think Chris Nyland 4th, Chris Smith 4th in 84, Ashmore 5th in number 20, 6th to number 92 Jake Hewlett, 7th to treble 7 Mark Dickin, then Conor Murphy, Joe McMullen and Jack Thomas running out the top 10, which is a good performance from Jack. He started, I think, the original race 19th. Daniel Bailey 27 was 11th, then James Mansell, William Puttigill, Sam Dennis, Matthew Duffel, Warwick Ellis, and then Dan Chapman, who obviously had that incident on the 2nd lap. We lost Craig Atkinson and Tim Necklin as well, so a great shame that's how that race has finished. Two red flags, but really demanding conditions for the Type R Trophy drivers there, Johnny.
It's so tricky. I mean, they were changing all the time. The rain actually intensified during the red flag, and yes, everyone was given another formation lap, but you can't really know how much grip is there or not there at slower speeds. And you've picked your tyre half an hour, 45 minutes ago. You've just got to live with that situation, and it's so easy to have an incident like we saw for Daniel Chapman, to run wide like Mark Dickin did in the initial phase of the race. And Joe Jessup has done an incredibly good job to get a 3rd win of the season. Yeah,
he certainly has. 2 more races tomorrow for these cars. Hopefully some of the ones that have been damaged today will be repaired, but there's some with reasonably heavy damage, so we'll have to see if we do get anything close to the full complement of 21 cars that we had qualify for this race, for races 2 and 3 tomorrow. The drivers are just coming down the pit lane now, I can tell you, underneath our commentary position, so shortly we should be able to hear from our top 3 drivers. I think we'll have plenty of time to hear from them with Josh Barrett, because it's going to be a little while, I think, before this incident is cleared and the cars can be released out for the next race of the day, which is the Race Parts Historic 750 Formula Series. I don't think I'd want to be a historic 750 Formula driver right now, because it doesn't look like my kind of conditions, really, in sort of those historic and obviously open top cars as well. And then the next cars after that also have no roof. That's the Sports 1000s, the RLM Racing Sports 1000s. And I've got the K-Tech Racing Chaos Sport Championship as well coming up. But let's head down to the pit lane now, and Josh Barrett is there.
So we're down in a very wet Pembrey pit lane now after that eventful TEGIWA Type R Trophy race. But it was Joe Jessup who took another win this season in what is a closely fought championship this year. Well done, Joe. A very difficult race. I'll let you grab your door open and then we'll You can stay in there. I'll give you a winner's garland. You can. That was a difficult race because we had 3 parts to it, and 2 parts to it, but another red flag as well, and some sideways moments out there.
It's really slippy. It was actually not too bad first couple of laps. Then after the red flag, you know, it was raining pretty hard, so lots of standing water on the track. So I hope everybody's okay. But yeah, really pleased with the performance.
And I guess it was just making sure you don't go over the limit during the course of that race, because you saw plenty of others had done.
That's right. I mean, it's you're sort of on the edge quite a bit. So, I mean, quali this morning, there was actually quite a bit of grip on the track, even though it was wet. But that time there, like second time after the restart, it was really, really slippy.
It's been a pretty nice season you had so far. You've had that win at Crofton, a win at Alton, now win here as well.
Yeah, no, delighted with the season so far. I think it's got off to a cracking start. Obviously at Alton, we had a problem with the car in the second race. We had that problem again yesterday in testing, but we managed to fix it. So yeah, delighted with the win.
And a busy weekend this weekend, 3 races.
Yeah, it's quite tiring this weekend.
Hopefully some dry weather tomorrow. Well done on your win. Second place was to Matt Doobie. We'll let the driver stay in their car so they don't get soaked as well. Matt, second place, that was all a good result for you.
Yeah, it was, I was really hoping that wouldn't restart again, but it did, and it only lasted a lap, so that's cool.
Yeah. And in that first start, you had one go at trying to get around the outside for the lead, I saw.
Yeah, oh, you got to try anyway, especially in these conditions at this circuit as well.
And how are you finding the Civic? You've had a few different cars over the last few years now.
I'm actually enjoying this one the most, I think, at the moment, yeah.
And how's that sort of compared? Because I guess the cars are sort of like newer versions of what Stock Hatch was back in the day.
Yeah, obviously they run the diff, and you've got a lot more adjustability on these than any other car I've driven before, so it's really good to have a mess around with it.
And obviously the rules are quite tight, and the racing is so close because of it.
Yeah, and that's what I like about it. Everything's the same. It should technically be just to the driver.
Yeah. Are you enjoying these wet conditions?
Yeah, actually, because I didn't get to test yesterday. I was hoping it would rain today, so hopefully it continues like it.
Well, we'll see. Well done in second place. Third was Chris, who's got out the car. Chris, I saw you had a big old spin at one point. The start as well didn't go quite to plan either.
No, that didn't. No, that kept me entertained. But well done to these 2 chaps for avoiding me, definitely. But yeah, no, it wasn't a great race. I bodged up the start, jumped out of first gear, struggled to get second. Everybody went past. So I thought, right, so get my head down. And then, up to that point, it was a good race. I mean, obviously, I know there's a red flag, so I do hope everybody's okay. But yeah, and we've got to be happy with third, I suppose, for the championship. But yeah, a bit of a scrappy race. It wasn't really what I wanted, so.
Like you say, though, the points have come, so it's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world, no, but you know, you're in a championship fight with these guys, and I did have the lead at one point, and I should have just got my head down and went, but it is what it is. Still had fun out there. It's very, very tricky. It was grippy, but interchangeable conditions, so it was just changing every lap, and I think we've gone a little bit wrong way with the setup, so yeah, it didn't.
I guess you talk about the grip, lots of people have been talking about it. I guess when it, though, like you say, now it's getting a lot wetter. If you think you've got the grip then suddenly haven't, it gets quite difficult.
Well, yeah, I mean, this morning in qualifying, it felt like a really, really grippy circuit. As soon as I went out on that first few laps there, it was really loose, the car was all over, the circuit seems to have changed. And then, obviously, when we had the rain and then it dried out and then more rain, obviously, every time you come through a corner, you're on the limit anyway. A little bit over the limit with me, but yeah, like I say, well done for them to avoid him, but it was a good race overall.
Looks drier for tomorrow, hopefully. Looking forward to those races?
Yeah, looking forward to them. We've obviously got 2 races tomorrow. I think one's a reverse grid as well, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it, see what happens.
We talk about the reverse grid here. Some drivers telling me not that easy to overtake. Do you think that's going to be quite difficult then?
It'll be more difficult in the dry, because obviously it's quite a fast-flowing circuit. But I suppose if you can try and put people off the line and just make the moves, but yeah, I'll try and do it without contact.
Well done on third place. Still some barrier repairs going on behind us, but we have got cars heading to the grid for our next race, which is time to go historic racing at Pembrey with the Race Parts Historic 750 Formula Championship.